Thanks for visiting Mr. Shoe Guy. Hey, it's Robert, Mr. Shoe Guy. So today in this video, I want to talk about brands and why all shoes in a brand may not always be equal. Here we've got two pairs of shoes, both Allen Edmonds, both a fantastic brand. One of my favorite brands to buy and resell. Basically, for sourcing purposes, if I come across this brand, I'm basically going to buy on site if the price point is good. But I wanted to make this video because a lot of times when people are sending me questions or they're out finding items for resale and they find a pair of shoes, they're like, okay, Allen Edmonds, buy automatically. Well, it's not exactly that simple. First, you need to look at the condition, which I think by this point sometimes people, they know. But you also need to observe the style of the shoe. And if you know the model number or the model name, that's very helpful in terms of knowing whether the shoe is going to be a good one to flip. Here you can see I got two pairs. This particular pair right here, this black pair, is not in the greatest condition. This is actually my personal pair. I wear these all the time and I just love them. They look a little bit better with my feet in them, but I just wanted to kind of show a style of shoe, this Oxford shoe, that is actually not at all unpopular. I've got hundreds of shoes. It's funny, I probably should update this particular pair, but I just happen to love them and I'm just going to keep wearing them because I love them. If I ever want to get them resold, I can. But this style of shoe is not unpopular, and honestly, it's something that most people would buy. This particular model is called the Kenilworth. I paid brand new retail for this. I actually have had this pair of shoes for several years. I want to say at least 4 now. So I paid $225, and if I wanted to resell it, I've put it up on eBay before and I've gotten offers somewhere above $150. So this particular pair of shoes, it still retains resale value, meaning people still want the shoe. So this is the example of a type of model that you want to be sourcing when it comes to Allen Edmonds. But overall, it kind of highlights a bigger concept that just because a brand is good doesn't mean you buy every single pair of shoes in that brand. That just is one of the, it's kind of like when you're out sourcing shirts. If you see, Brooks Brothers, every Brooks Brothers shirt isn't a fantastic shirt to buy, but overall the brand is known for its quality. So that's kind of one example. So right here next to this pair of shoes, I actually sourced these today, and this model I've talked about many times. It is probably, if not my favorite, my second favorite by this brand. You can see it's a gorgeous shoe. I used to have this shoe several years ago. When I first started flipping, I actually sold this shoe off, and I was so sad that I was like, you know what, one day I'm gonna get this shoe again. And this is, my personal shoe. I just bought it the other day. It came in the mail today. This is the Allen Edmonds Strand model, and you can see it right there. It says Allen Edmonds Strand. So this particular model is also about $225 brand new in the store, and this model is in high demand. This is the model, when you go on eBay and you type in Allen Edmonds, there are people who are using the name of this Strand model in listings that don't even have anything to do with the Strand, because they're so popular that when you type in Allen Edmonds Strand, people still want their listings to get noticed. Yeah, by the way, that's a trick that you can use on eBay if you ever want to. Most times listings like that won't get shut down, so I basically just gave you a little bit of a trick. If you want to get more attention to your listings, you can feel free to use it if you want to or not. Just depends on your ethics level. But in any case, this particular pair of this particular style is extremely popular. If you're not sure, I showed you right here. These are basically plain Oxfords. This particular style is actually a cap toe brogue. If you've checked out some of my other videos, you know it's a cap toe by this right here. That line that goes across, it's called a cap. So that's this part right here is your cap toe, and in contrast to a more simpler plain shoe. And then also, it's brogues by these holes right here. These holes that go across the shoe, those are called brogues. And when you look at a pair of brogues, that's any pair of shoe that has those holes. the more of them that they have, I don't want to say the better, but you just know that it's a more decorated shoe. It's really just a decoration at this point, although it used to be used for other things. Sometimes you can see the holes there, sometimes you can see them there. It just depends on the style of shoe. So the more of them that you see, it's generally a more casual style of a dress shoe. The less of them that you see, and also it has to do with the color sometimes, the less of them that you see, the more formal it is. So this video is a pretty good example of a lot of things. Formality, honestly, you know, when it comes to buying brands and whether the best of a brand is out there, do you want to pick it up or not? So yes, it's a lot of things, but I paid well, actually, that was when I bought these brand new several years ago. At this point, I've learned a lot, and I only paid, I think it was maybe 130, I think, for these shoes. It might have been 130, 135. This also highlights something else. When you're on eBay and you're sourcing, which I've covered in other videos, I'll probably do another one because that's a heavily demanded topic. When you're sourcing and you're on eBay looking for shoes to buy for resale, you have to consider the model that you're looking at. This model I could probably find for, you know, 75 or below. I haven't searched for this model in a while, but it's not as heavily demanded as this model. There's another model out there that I absolutely adore. It kind of looks like this, except the shoes go up higher. It's a boot that goes up about there. It is called the Dalton boot, and it actually retails brand new for $425. The shoe is incredible, just like the Strand, but you basically cannot find certain shoes for lower than a certain range. It's kind of like this camera that I'm using. I'm using a Canon T3i Rebel. The camera actually retailed for about $900 when it came out a couple years ago, but now it's being sold in like Walmart's, Targets, stuff like that for between, you know, $600 to $800 as far as I can see. And I've compared it many times because it's a great entry-level camera for people who want to get into, you know, photos, film and stuff like that. Well, the point is, when you look at this camera on eBay, and you try and buy it, you're going to see a range for resellers reselling it, kind of like shoes. So if you look for this exact camera model on eBay, what you're going to do is you're going to see anywhere from, like I said, 500 to probably 650, maybe 700. You'll see auctions also, and sometimes those auctions run up higher, but it just depends on the overall demand at the time. Very much like shoes, which is what I'm trying to get at. When I bought this camera, actually I bought a replacement. It was not less of a replacement, more of a gift for a friend of the family, for a family member. I actually ended up getting this same model of camera for $300. So when you're on eBay, you're looking for deals, you're not going to find something of extreme high value for $5 or for $25 or for $100 a lot of times. You're going to get it at a great deal, but you're still going to have to pay for it. So that is why I paid $130 for this pair of shoes. That was a bit of a longer example and a rationale, but hopefully that explains why I paid so much for these shoes. $130, but it's a personal pair for me. It's a great investment because, again, this particular pair retails for $225, and with the demand, even if I wear these shoes for the next, 6 months, year, 2 years, when I put them up on eBay, I can still get very close to the same amount that they're new, as long as I don't severely damage them. But again, Allen Edmonds is a recraftable brand. Both of these shoes, if the sole gets worn down quite a bit, I can just send them into Allen Edmonds for like $90 or something like that. They'll basically send them out back to me looking exactly like this. That is why you want a good brand behind you, because there's a lot of brands out there that you can send it in. I believe Timberland does the same thing, and if it's not Timberland, it's another one that's very similar to that brand. So this